Okay guys, let's look at multiplication and division of fractions. Again, I'm seeing a heck of a glare right there and I apologize. Let me know if that keeps you from seeing this or not. But something to remember about multiplication of fractions. Let's just say, for example, we have 5/6 times 3/20. Now, something to remember about multiplication and division. You do not need a lowest common denominator. Remember, when you add or subtract, you need a lowest common denominator, or at least a common denominator. For multiplication and let me try that again. For multiplication and division, you do not need that for multiplication and division. Okay? Just for addition and subtraction, not for multiplication and division. So to remember about multiplication of fractions is you can cancel. Remember to cancel. It will save you a whole bunch of mathematics. And how you cancel is you take the numerator from one to the denominator of the other. So in this case, do we see anything that will cancel out? Right now I see this numerator goes into this denominator. So what do? I do this. What I do to one, I'm going to do to the other. So 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 6 is 2. Now, can I do any additional canceling? Now, I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I'm thinking I see a 5 will divide into, this numerator will go into that denominator, right? I can divide that by 5. What I do to one, I have to do to the other. 5 into 5 goes 1. 5 into 20 goes 4. So we've just canceled. So, and just glancing at this now, I don't see anywhere else that we can cancel. So we've got this. 1 times 1 is 1. We have 2 times 4, which equals 8. So there's my answer. I can't reduce that anymore. That's the lowest possible terms that I can get. Alright, so that's multiplication. Let's do another one. You'll see over on page 11 you have a concept check toward the bottom of the page. Let's just do that real quick. The concept check on page 11, we have 1/8 times 4 times 2 1/3. Okay, so we've got some weird looking numbers. We have a mixed number, which we want to put into an improper fraction. We have a whole number, which we want into an improper fraction. We already have a proper fraction. So if I was to rewrite this, I would have 1/8 times, remember, well, this is nothing more than 4 over 1. 4 over 1 times, now, can I turn this mixed number into an improper fraction? Remember, multiply and plus. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So I turned this 4 into an improper fraction. I turned this mixed number into an improper fraction. Now I have all fractions, which is going to work great for me. Now, is there anything I can cancel out? Just looking at this, I think I can divide that by 4 and that by 4. That would give me a 1. 4 into 8 goes 2. And just looking at that, I don't see anything else that reduces. So we actually have 1 times 1, which is 1, times 7, which is 7. 2 times 1, which is 2, times 3, which is 6. Now, am I done? I don't know why I'm standing in front of this camera like this. No, I'm not done. Because it is not in lowest possible terms. the numerator is greater than the denominator. So what do? And guys, I'm going to have to bring it right over here a little bit, or I'm going to run out of camera space. 6 into 7. 6 goes one time with 1 left over. I know this is my quotient. I know this is my numerator, and my denominator does not change. There's my answer, 1 1/6. All right, so the thing to remember is addition and subtraction. You have to have a common denominator, preferably lowest common denominator. Multiplication and division, you do not need it, but you're going to cancel if at all possible. So let's look at division. When we talk division, and that's over starting on page 11, finishes on page 12. When we talk division, there's one thing you really want to remember. The word inverse. The word inverse. Let me just do this. Let's say, for example, 3/10 divided by 2/5 equals something. Now, when you're dividing fractions, you can't hardly see that, can you? I'll work on that. I'll get better at that. When you're dividing, what you do is you keep the first number the way it is. You inverse and change the sign of the second. You go from a division to a multiplication, and you invert the second one. You with me? We started with 3/10 divided by 2/5. What we end up with is 3/10, change the sign to a multiplication, and invert the second one. 5 seconds. Now, all we have is a simple multiplication. Can we do any factoring? Any canceling? Can we do any more? I don't see anything else. Do you? Well, that's not right, is it? That's a 1. Oh, that's right. I'm dividing by 5. I think that's about all I've got. So I've got 3 times 1, which equals 3. And I've got 2 times 2, which equals 4. So I get 3/4. So when I'm dividing, all I do is I take the inverse and change the sign. Let's do one more. All right, let's do this. 5/7 divided by 15/21. What we really have is 5/7, change your sign, invert, 21/15. Can I do any canceling? Divide that by 5, divide that by 5. That gives me a 1, that gives me a 3. I could do that, but let's use the bigger number. Always look at your biggest numbers. I can divide that by 7, gives me 1. I can divide that by 7, gives me a 3. And I could do this if I wanted to, but let's not for exercises, because I want to challenge you a little bit more. I could just do that, but let's not. Let's say I've got 1 times 3, which is 3. 1 times 3 in my denominators, which is 3. And I end up with 3/3. Is that the final answer? It is not in lowest terms. Lowest terms would be 1. And that's what I'd be looking for. All right. Hopefully these little videos help you out. Let me know one way or the other. Let me know about the glare. Let me know if these are even worthwhile. If you don't want me to do them, let me know and I'll stop doing them. But hopefully they're helping you a little bit. Have fun.